Alright, so a lot of you commented that you wanted me to make a video about the grand final of M5. I will give my 2 cents on what I personally think were some of the most decisive moments in each match. By the way, just a reminder, these are all just my personal opinions. The coach and the players are the pros, so more than likely they had their reasons why they did what they did. But gotta say, sometimes even the pros make some questionable decisions because of all the pressure and whatnot, so we should take that into consideration as well. Anyway, since there were 7 games in total, I won't go too into detail or else it will be a very long video, so like I said, I'm just gonna point out the turning points of each game. But before jumping to the grand final, we need to talk a little bit about what happened during the semi-final. Onyx actually managed to sweep AP Bren, but the score is a little bit misleading, because in the first match, Bren was actually in absolute control of the game. They were dominating throughout the entire game, until the very last moment. Onyx did a miracle play in that last defense and made an epic comeback in the end. Anyway, what I found very interesting in that series is that Onyx probably noticed that what gave them so much trouble in that first match was Mathilda, so for the rest of that series, they banned her all the time. They adapted very well, which is why they won pretty decisively the next 2 games against AP Bren. Now let's go back to the first match of the grand final. Right from the start, the ban and draft from Onyx was really questionable. They already played against Bren in the previous series and actually knew who was their biggest threat. So to see them giving Mathilda like that, it was pretty weird to say the least. And what is even weirder, that also in the previous series, Onyx never banned Nolan. In fact, they picked him in all 3 matches and Bren never banned or picked him in that series. It almost felt like Onyx just completely forgot about what happened in the previous series against them. Anyway, now let's look at the gameplay.
You have the Astral Echo to find the opposing side, but Boost goes in!
From the first turtle fight, you could see why Mathilda plays such a huge role. Here Novaria already used her flicker, so there was no way for her to escape anymore. But thanks to Mathilda, she now has an extra dash to use.
Damage coming down, and that's going to be Keyboy who shoves them back. Kyrie winning the Red battle with Implosion coming down as well. Now he's going to view very low first blood picked up by Sans, but a good appraiser's wrath turns it around.
In the end, Valentina did manage to kill Novaria, but it took her way too long because of Mathilda. If Valentina didn't have to spend so much time chasing her and was in that team fight the whole time, there was a good chance Oni could have won that trade, since Kyrie managed to last hit the turtle.
Boots gonna be zoned away for now. Calteezy jumping in, getting a taunt, knocking Boots up. Calteezy doing the same thing. Now with Infernum, gonna circling Eagle. Boots with a flicker backwards. That might just be a kill. DPZ to fall back.
Onyx just doesn't have any means to prioritize the damage dealers because Mathilda is there to ensure their safety.
To pull back.
I like this play from Tigro. If things went well, he could catch their main DPS by surprise.
A 5-man implosion. Will the damage be enough, Wolf? Maybe they have the Dyrot, so they can. The damage will be there.
But the amount of poke damage Bren had was just too much, and Onyx will lose a member before there was a chance to make his play.
Down to half.
Even the Lizard did not spam out Keyboy.
Yeah. Another Astral Spear. Boots taken low. Penalty zone. That's a DPZ, but not a defensive penalty zone.
Once the fighter went down, the fight was already over.
4.8k gold lead, building on supply chain.
Is it the front line? Is it Super Marco? I think Onyx will have to settle for the front lines, yes. Because that is the idea of the Dyrot anyways. Of course you can dive, but...
Good shot again, Astral Echo. Now revealing a few members. Kyrie going to be engaged on right now. The Surfing Eagle, the Tommy afraid. zone, but it's still not enough. Super Marco is free hitting. That's a flicker and a torn upon memory. Good touch by Sans. Good shot over. Sans dogging away.
With Thamus and Fredring as your frontliner, lots of burst damage from the backline, and Mathilda on top of that, there was really not much Oni could have done here. It truly felt like they lost the battle before the match even started, right from the draft. But we definitely gotta give huge props to AP Bren. It seemed to me that they really did their homework after they lost that previous series against Onyx. As a wise man once said, success occurs when opportunity meets preparation. And it seemed to me that AP Bren prepared much better for this series, at least in terms of the ban and draft.
From AP Bren, the way that they drafted their early game, oh, that's gonna be pretty good.
But like usual, Onyx are pretty good at adapting quickly, so they learned from the previous game and now they know they should ban Mathilda again. But I think there was no reason that they needed to lose the first match of this grand final before adapting, since they already had the matches from the previous series to learn from. And it seemed like AP Bren was the one who actually learned from it, because they banned the one jungler that Onyx picked all the time, which was Nolan. The second game, composition-wise is pretty even. Both teams have good mobility, with the exception of Gord. But if you're really good with Gord, then you will know about great positioning and when to engage. Also, it doesn't hurt to have reliable teammates who know how to protect the bot line.
Shove back onto Kyrie, but he's still going to be able to at least shot some damage. Keyboy is coming in as well. Ogwen with flicker backwards defensively. That's a flicker as well. Don't run, will kick Keyboy. Picks up
FDP, full damage Paquito, and it's gonna be utilized up top.
a lot of damage onto Boots and Implosion committed as well. Boots now caught in the hypothetical. Onto the penalties on flickers out to safety. Should fall. The Decimate finds the kill. And Kyle T.
This was a clever move by Kyrie. While the opponents were being distracted by the turtle, he used this chance to steal the opponent's buff. One of the main themes about this series is the constant jungle invasion. When you steal the opponent's jungle creeps, you gain double the value, because not only you gain more farm, but you're also cutting farm from the opponents. This plays a crucial role for those early rotation and snowball effects.
2 minutes, knowing full well that the 5 to 7 minutes, that is actually the power spike of AP Bren. I mean, we saw in the interview, ZW can get money, man.
One thing that I noticed in this series is that Kyle TC is really good at timing his jungle's invasion.
As long as they get something back, as long as it's not a losing.
No battle spells used up just yet. AB Bren in the bottom lane. That's a penalty zone connecting on the Ogwen, but he gets a massive shove on the 3. Kyrie walks out with the electrifying beat. Super Marco dishing out damage on the Blues. Out of Brendan. Into a Decimate. Kyrie with retribution. He misses it. But Kyle doesn't. He finds another. Keyboy falling south of the lane. Pressured down on his own tier 1. Kyrie looking to clear out the waves. That's a dive angle from AP Bren. A Decimate and Kyrie will still be able to walk away. Super Marco.
Just like in the previous match, AP Bren is once again in the driving seat in the early to mid game.
1-2. CW takes the 1v1.
Hey, it's good for AP Bren.
It's massive for them. Kyrie looking for an angle.
That was really unfortunate for AP Bren. Martis got stunned at the last moment. As you can see, even the best of the best sometimes makes blunders like this. It happens, guys.
Kyrie was like, don't worry.
Toss away from Mystic Gust. I defended. Calteezy melted down again. And now it's going to be 2 members in desperation going in. 1 second on the Baptiste.
This second match reminds me of the first game of the semi, in which AP Bren were in control throughout the whole game, but they made a huge blunder and only completely capitalized on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have your attention here.
Once again, not sure why Oni decided to ban Nolan again. I mean, maybe Kyle TC is godlike with Nolan, but in the previous series, AP Bren never picked him at all. Instead of the Nolan ban, maybe they could have banned one of the AP Bren's most comfortable picks, such as Fredring.
Legit scared for this
Gord. Well, Flicker very aggressively in the start of the game. Super Marco taken low, but look at the decision to not flicker back. He decides to walk away, but he will pay with us a lot of HP.
Now we got to see how CW manages the lane, because it looks like Super Marco, even though he was chunked up quite a bit, he is going to be able to last hit that gold. Being very proactive around the map, trying to target Super Marco here.
Not sure if this AP Bren's rotation was planned before the match, and I think it was most likely the case, because for those who don't know, the most common rotation in the early game for these pros teams is to have the mage rotate to the EXP lane, so both the offlaner and the mage reach level 4 at the same time before the turtle spawn, and at the same time leave the mid wave for the roamer, so it gets very close to level 4 as well. Previously it was possible for all three to reach level 4 at the same time, but in one of the recent updates they made an adjustment to nerf this tactic a little bit.
They find first blood.
Now that the mage is down, it's hard to fight for the turtle.
Onto the turtle. Calteezy still has that red tree. Keyboard's looking for the flank few. Can he be spotted out? Heavy spin still ready for Kyrie. Jumps in. Oh! What? It's Flapteezy who gets the steal on the turtle. Now, furious dive defensively by Boots. Owen following through. Calteezy doing the same.
Here, it's kinda strange that Yuson, aka Bots, decided to take this path to retreat instead of moving towards his turret.
Boy, Jikundo to the front. Boots gonna be chucked down by Owen. Boots running away still. Owen still chasing. A big vengeance.
And now their jungler cannot even take the jungle anymore. This is the perfect example of what you call a domino effect.
Onyx still hovering over the orange buff right now. Flapteezy looks for the steal. Jumps in. Sans doing some damage back. Brave Spider, the third spot gonna be used up right now. Mystic Gun! No flicker used, Flap! He didn't just steal the turtle!
This sequence of events made Onyx early game really difficult. The difference in jungler's level and farm would be too much.
Oh! 1v1 and outplay from Sans pops. He's got some stacks onto him, but Super Marco won't decide to pop that tournament.
Look at this difference in level. 2 levels ahead is huge, especially in the early game.
Calteezy will decide to invade the enemy jungle 2 levels ahead. Who gets it? Was that Kyle? Easy now. Sans looking for another opening in this skirmish. Super Marco with...
This was basically the story of this match. Just AP Brent's jungler doing as he pleases in the opponent's jungle. And there was absolutely nothing Kyrie could do because of how badly they lost in that first turtle fight.
Dude, right now I'm worried Super Marco just got them electric roar. This is what all he wants. This is what all he needs. At this point, AP Brent can say, you know what, I'm not looking at minions, man, I'm looking at heroes.
Use the red tree though.
Just yet when B-Boy goes in.
This was a good pickup for Onyx. But then Faramis took the wrong path to retreat.
Frontline does. Now it's a lockdown. Oh, Sans gets wiped. AP Brent flicks him down, bursted him out.
Now AP Brent, 7,000 gold lead. Moving forward, they're looking at it here. Only defense used.
Oh!
Faramis died again without being able to use his ult.
Calteezy! And Onyx has lost again on one member. The laser not quite in range. Onyx still able to defend from the first lord of the game.
Without Faramis' ult, it was very difficult for Onyx to defend their inhibitors.
Flash from the turret. Onyx lose a base turret with the first lord of AP Brent.
Now, Black Dragon form used by Bo. That damage though!
Memory, oh my goodness gracious. Boots was almost melted down. Whew. 2 base turrets.
Let me just say, AP Brent, their mind games is working.
Yep,
It's working.
it's working. And the thing is, losing Sans twice in a row. I mean, losing him once, that's fine because they were able to get the kill on the Flapteezy, but losing him the second time meant that they will not be able to defend both their turrets.
Uh-oh. That's a pull down on the Kyrie right now. Another round.
Oof, Faramis' ult didn't even touch his teammate Cho.
It's gonna be a time, Keyboy. Finds a good way to drag it, but it's not gonna be able to survive it. This onslaught of damage. Boots finds a petrify with a nature. Still Sparkle falls. The Ghost Bursters able to...
One thing I gotta say, when you're in the back seat and it seems like you're on the verge of losing, usually you tend to make more blunders because of the pressure, and that happens to everybody, even the very top professional players.
Another defense item for Kyrie for sure, because you see that when he turns up into the fight, even when he's not dying, he can't fall asleep. You gotta make sure to tighten the gameplay. And make sure
Just look at the difference in level between the junglers.
stay coming in.
Sans. The resource used up. Kyrie broken down by Owen. And also by View. Kyle holding the Lord. Pinned down. Final slash used up already. Sans. Shadow Stampede once again. Missing projectile connecting. Chunking Sans. For a bit. Onyx are still hovering over.
And then their conceal was wasted as well.
Right now, Keyboy used the conceal, but immediately found out. I don't know how Keyboy can go in, man. He has to make some kind of miracle play. Sans, even he can't find any angles.
He has a flicker.
Onyx looks like they have to disengage.
They have to. There's no way they can contest an AP Bren. Capitalize. A free lord in the 13th minute.
Right now, Onyx, they have to defend. At this point, too much damage, man, being dealt out by this ward. They got the Yuzong, but the Yuzong can't even go in. He flies, and immediately AP Bren strikes and force him down to the ground. Boots can't do much here.
Radiant armor picked up by Carry. Keyboy has his flicker back. Sans is the most important hero for now, for Onyx.
Cho, aka Keyboy, wants to start the team fight by picking off the opponent's marksman, but Luga calls TC positioning. He's making absolutely sure that there's no chance Cho can kick their marksman. Also Arlott, aka Owen, was there as well as a backup.
And he might be Final Slash. That's gonna be a problem for the side of Onyx.
Hogan looking for an angle right now. Mystic Gush. Kyrie, heavy spin with another realm right now. The Lord's going to be dealt with right now. Ski-Boy jumps into the back, not able to find an angle. Stunned up KCC. Ski-Boy taken out. Sauce with Flicker. Shadow Stampede. A Razor Spot connecting LCW. It's going to be able to dish out some damage. Flap Teasy with the Razor Spider. Onto the back with the Flicker as well. Boots finds the finish right on the Cal Teasy. Final Slash, bringing it back. But he finds the kill. He dies instead. CW going away right now. One more away from the now. Sauce taken out by Super Marco. CW versus the world. A fight cycle back. But what is the member supposed to do?
Honestly, the game was pretty much done once Onyx lost that first turtle fight, and AP Bren made sure to take advantage of it and kept putting tons of pressure on the opponent's jungler. Now I think one of the main reasons they lost that first turtle team fight was because AP Bren just prepared better with the rotations and whatnot. Anyway, I have decided to make this grand final into 2 parts. Tomorrow the second part will most likely be ready. Thanks for watching and see ya.